All right, today we get to set new sales records together with automated reporting. And I'm going to start it off with a Hermosi story. That I heard this, he's probably told this many times, but I heard this one again recently, and it was about checking his bank account. He's like, here's a pro tip for life. Check your bank account every morning before you check your social media accounts. And the premise of this story was really what we focus on is what grows. And so we can't focus on something if we're not measuring something. Hopefully, this is not new to anybody, but I have just a couple little things here for the next 2 minutes to help inspire us to get refocused. If maybe some of you are already tracking numbers, but you're like, maybe there's one KPI that you're not tracking, you're lazy on. I want to bring our focus to numbers. And one story he was sharing, he's like, I tracked all of my numbers until I was in the millions of dollars every single day. I would check my bank account every single day. I was a little blown away by that, to be honest. He still checks everything to this day, but his cadence and his system's a little bit different because he's into the hundreds of millions. So numbers just don't change as the way that they used to in terms of percentages. But I thought this was a great point. You know what? If you want to grow your bank account, check it every single day. And if it hurts, so who here has avoided checking numbers or even tracking something because it's a part of the business that's too painful? It's not good, so you're actually avoiding it. And by tracking it, it feels even worse and it's more painful. Today, I want all of us to lean into that discomfort because everything good is on this other side of tracking it, because numbers tell a story. What's awesome about them is they remove all guesswork. We know exactly what's happening, and we know in seconds. If you love wasting hours and hours in meetings with team members only to change approximately nothing in your business, then don't track anything. But I can look at and know the health of my pipelines and projected sales literally in 5 to 15 seconds because of the reports that I have set up. I can have a really strong pulse on my company and where it's going with the story that the numbers tell, if you set them up properly. And that's what we're going to do today. Here's a quote that I really like. If you don't know where you are going, you'll end up someplace else. I love simple wisdom, right? Yogi Berra. No, not that one. The famous baseball player. I actually had to look this up. I was like, did they spell Yogi Bear wrong? It's like, no, I guess it's a famous baseball player that said this, but I like the simplicity of the quote. And there's only one way. There's only one way. There's the best way to track numbers. You guys want to know what it is? It's the automated way. Because if it's not automated, guess what's happening? Nothing's happening because you do the work. And then at the end, you're like, now I need to calculate and process all the work that I just spent doing during the day. It's too painful, right? But if we can have the work tracked while it's just happening, not just for you and the work you're doing, but also your team. Has anyone ever had to be like, hey, why didn't you put the numbers in the spreadsheet? Have you ever had that conversation with your team? How fun is that? It's not fun for anybody, but if we automate it, it actually happens. We've been able to set this up in our business and it's made a huge difference. I'm going to show you how you can do it today. Literally, it's just a handful of clicks within FlowChat, and you can have these automated reports and these really productive conversations. I hope everyone hearing me right now has this already set up, right? Or if you're catching the recording on this, and if you do not glaze over, do not skip this. This will change your life. I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't important. So the two keys to automating reports are just setting up and, more importantly, knowing what you're looking at. It's the targets you're aiming for. And we've processed millions of DMs. So across platform, across industry, we know conversion rates that you should be aiming for. So if you're winning and you're going down the right path, or you're losing, you don't have to wonder let's do 90 days and see how it goes. No, we can figure this out within hours and days and know if we're trending the right direction. I like to win before I even get started. And so I need to know, what is my goal? What do I need to do to control the activity to get there, so that I know that if I'm winning or losing hour by hour. I've been commission only basically my entire life, so I've had to get very comfortable and familiar and make friends with these type of things. So that's where we're going today. And I'm actually just going to show you live within FlowChat. So you guys can look, this is workshop. So you guys can be watching, if you got two screens watching me do this, and then setting this up within your own account. Maybe you have some of these. You might want to make some adjustments per some of the things I'll be sharing. Let's see. And I think a couple more people are looking to join here. I'll let them in real quick. So here's where you go to get this report. First off, we'll want to go, and you guys can share any comments in the chat. Let's see. I got to pull up the chat window real quick. See if these are coming through. What can you measure? You can't measure. Peter Drucker, great person to follow. 100%, Michael. Tessie, Chris made me feel like I was sitting church in back here, and the pastor is speaking to me. We'll all be there. Yes. All right. I'm on my I'm on the pulpit today about numbers. I care about you guys. I hate losing in my own company. I hate not growing in my own companies. And I don't want that for anyone in FlowChat. Part of this tool is truly help founders and business owners and team members do awesome and grow their company and serve people in a powerful way. So here's how we do it. We go to reports up here in the upper left-hand corner, and we're going to select custom pipeline reports. And it looks like this. Now, what's cool is you can do certain, order it, prioritize it based on certain metrics here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time there, but you can also change the time frame. Now, this is just a test account, so this isn't you can see that it's a template here. This isn't an active account. You can say, I want to see how we did last quarter. I want to see how we did last week. I want to see how we did last month. You can set your time frame here. There's some presets, and you can do custom as well. The most important one, though, is really over here. This is where you select whatever pipeline you're using and you want to track. This is how easy it is. Here, I'll add a LinkedIn one here. Let's do Instagram. Book a call. That's fine. So I select this one and I just hit add right up here. Boom, it adds it. And what we created is some suggested KPIs. So you don't even have to add different KPIs or wonder what your report should look like. It's already built for you. Within selecting it and just adding it, you're done. Now, as the cards in your pipeline, let's see, I'm going to get my annotation tool out here. Let's do this one. Now you have a card in a pipeline, and as you're moving it stage to stage, it's auto-calculating those actions in here. And by the way, those actions are now automated too. So you're pressing play, tasks and work and revenue generating activity is happening automatically, and it's automatically being tracked in these really simple, easy to read reports. Now, we're going to hang here for just a little bit longer, and then I've also prepared this document for you where it has all the targets as well. You can take a screenshot. You have access to this PDF within your account as well. But these are the last two things that we're going to cover over the next 5 to 7 minutes. So for here, you can notice that we first want to track, and this is a book a call flow, and I'll speak to other flows and sales initiatives in a second, but we want to send messages. If we're not sending consistent messages every day, no one's going to reply to us. Pretty simple. So we want to measure how much that's happening per profile, per platform a day. Generally, depending on platform, it's about 20 to 30, right, when optimized. And then we want to aim for a 10 to 30, sometimes even up to a 40% response rate. And that's based on the messages received. So if we send 100 messages and we get 20 responses, it's a 20% response rate. And we can see that all right here. It would say 20 here, it would say 20% here, and 100 here. Pretty easy to follow, yes? You guys with me? Cool, right on. And then the next really big thing is if we never send a booking link, we can't book a call. So how many links did we send to new people today? That's a really simple question. Would we ask our setters or ourselves? It used to be us just, all right, our calls are down. Well, how many links did I send today? Well, only 2 links, I guess. Well, I got to send, what's your daily minimum? What's your standard? Hey, never less than 10 a day. Always got to get my 10 a day, right? We can't always control results, but we can control our activity. And if we never dip below 10, we're always going to have a consistent number of closes typically to rely on, which is awesome when you hate stressing about payroll and you hate stressing about cash flow cycles and the roller coaster. Consistent activity crushes all that. So once we send a link, the other really big one that we like to follow is of the people that got a link, how many actually clicked it and booked? That's our booking rate. right? Of the people that booked a call, how many showed up and actually closed? That's our close rate. So these are pretty simple. We can get a little more granular if you'd like to add more. Some people, for example, now they have like booking link sent and they have calls booked and they want to track their show rate. Hey, we booked 10 calls. Did all 10 of those people actually show up to the call? Some people prefer to track that. It is a good one. You can get more granular. Well, how do we do it? I suggest doing this. We'd hit add KPI. We want to know the number first. We'd select the stage and we'd be looking for calls completed. Can I aggregate? Michael said, oh, a couple of questions. Thanks, Michael. Would you ask to send a link first or are you? Oh, great question. So these KPIs are indicating the major stages. Sometimes we have follow-up. We're not just sending a link immediately. The actual conversation flow is indicated by the stages in the pipeline. This is kind of a high level look. When our flow is done, here's the main conversion points we're looking for. And when those are good, then we're good. So this part of FlowChat actually, this is what I want. Because when I was doing the work at the end of the day and I'm training and hiring, and Sean's been doing a great job covering all our sales and marketing department for this project. But when I've managed teams, I'm like, look, I just need to know one number. I need to know 2, 3, maybe numbers at the most. And if those numbers are good, cool. We'll talk next time. Keep up the good work. When they're down, I'm going to go into those numbers and see what needs to be fixed. And I can share some of those best practices in just a second. So here we want to go call completed because we want to see what, if we completed the call, we know they showed, right? So we would select that one there. It's call completed. Now, when I set up these KPIs, I prefer to have them sequential. I like to have them in order. So I wouldn't leave call completed on the outside of purchased. I would do it after call booked and I would just drag it over there. That's how easy it is to design these reports. So it's a logical customer journey from left to right. You guys with me on that? Now we have 2 numbers here and I like to see percentages personally. And so we want to add another percentage in here. So out of the calls booked, how many were completed? That would be our show rate. So I'm going to click the KPI to add one, but this time we're going to change it to percentage. And we're going to the way that this is set up, we want to take the first column, which would be calls booked, and then we're going to divide it by call completed. And then we'll just say this would be our show rate. So we can title it and we'll do the consistent color blue as well. So you can change the colors on these. And of course it puts it over here. And then we just simply drag it right here. Now we have also the show rate. So really your true close rate is going to be more your calls completed of the calls you did, how many closed. Because if you're counting calls you never did, that's diluting your actual close rate. So some people like to add this extra KPI. You guys with me on that? Cool. I'm going to give you some targets in just a second, but one other really important one in here is average time per stages. Why is this important? This is basically your sales cycle lifetime or duration. In other words, does it take you 10 days to close a deal? Or does it take you 10 months to close a deal? That's what this actually tracks. So you can go from the time they book a call, how long does it take for them to actually buy something? From the time of the first message sent, or maybe first message, right? Message received, how long does it take for them to purchase? And we can say, we can just call this sales cycle. And I don't know, we'll make it yellow. And then we can say, now we have days of our sales cycle tracked here. So some people like that number. If it takes you 2 months to close a deal and you realize we're doing 4 calls, what's happening on these calls? I think we could do this in 2. And then you start closing not in 2 months, but in 1 month. And you just create a 50 or 100% increase month over month in sales because you shorten your sales cycle. That's kind of interesting. So numbers tell a story. So before we go to targets, actually, I'm going to tell you the stories of the numbers while we go through the targets. Any other questions you guys want to cover here? Good here? Cool. Seeing some thumbs up. Great. So now that we can see the data and it's happening automatically, which is amazing. That means it's going to happen consistently. We don't have to worry about it. How do we know we're doing well? Or what areas do we even focus on? Over the $1 million plus DMs that we've looked at, here are the averages that we've seen. Now, again, this is response rate, booked call rate, show rate, and closing rate. These are important KPIs. But Chris, I don't do calls. I do webinars. Jamie, when you jumped on, you're like, we just finished a webinar. It went awesome. A bunch of people showed up. They kept asking us about our product. Great experience, right? Your show rate would be your attendee rate. The booked call rate would be your registration rate. When it all comes down, throw me a sales process, and I'm going to show you generally 4 major KPIs that you want to track. Yes, you can get more granular always, but just to keep things simple for today, there's always going to be your core 4. And it's going to be somewhere around your outbound activity. What type of response did you get? Did they actually do it? Did they buy it? Those are the general buckets. So we want to look for, in the environment of DMs, about a 10 to 40% response rate. You know why that's awesome? Sean was talking with a email company, and they're like, we got to send 6,000 to 10,000 emails to get like 20 or 40 responses. Wow. It's a lot. Now you can do higher volume there, but it's a lot lower percent. And if you're just trying to get 10 responses, we can send 100 messages. We don't need to send thousands of emails. So it's very efficient. It's also cost efficient. How much does it cost to send a DM? 0. It's free. How much does it cost per email that you have? You got to pay per month to have a growing list, right? So there's some cost. It's pound for pound. You can get customers for really low CAC, cost to acquire, and they're really quality because of all the qualification systems that we have in place. So you're getting a high LTV, lower churn rate, higher amount spent per client that's coming in. This is a really effective way to grow businesses, which is why we went down this rabbit hole. All right, so we're looking for 10 to 40% response rate. And of the people that respond with a message, we're going to go back and forth, and not all of them are going to be a perfect fit, and not all of them are going to want to book a call or be ready for that. But 20 to 50% of them are. So you can see in this campaign, 37% said, yeah, I'll book a call, and they did. We got 85 book calls. And now, if we're looking at this and we're like, whoa, it's a 5% booking rate. When people are responding, there's 2 things we typically want to look at. The numbers are telling us a bad story. Something's broken. Honestly, sometimes with this one, they're actually trying to book, but the booking link's broken. You're like, and it sucks that that's the case, but it's also awesome because you're like, cool, easy fix. I can just fix that in 2 seconds. Oh, booking rate's back up to 30%. Onward and upward, right? But sales are, how many conversations have you had like this? Sales are down. You know what? We got to change our offer. No, you mean the offer that's worked for 3 years and now you think is stale? And now you're going to go through, you're going to change the offer. You're going to change all your deliverables. You're going to change your ops, right? You're going to do all these things. And all it was is the booking link. We've done audits and they're like, oh my gosh, I just spent the last 2 months and it didn't work. Now sales are even worse. It's harder to close. I think maybe I'm rethinking why I'm even doing this business in the first place. Now it's starting to strain my relationships, and it's just real, right? So it could sometimes be simply the booking link. Sometimes it could be the wrong person or the wrong message. We could say, no, booking link is great. What else is it? Well, who am I talking to? Are these ideal customer profiles? We can just go look at their profile. We don't sell to these people. We can't solve their problem. Shoot, it's a lead problem. How do we get these bad leads? We started importing from a bad group, or we got a bad batch of data. Well, that's good to know. Let's stop that immediately, right? We can catch these problems when we have the right reports. These numbers tell a story and they help us win in business and serve more people. All right, so let's just do a couple more on the show rate. Sometimes the follow-ups aren't working. How come our sequence isn't firing anymore? They're not getting the Zoom link to show up to the call. They just signed up. Nothing popped on their calendar. No email or follow-up text happened. They even booked it. Oh, shoot. Let's get that campaign refired up. There's a software update. We got to refresh something. So we can really quickly know if we're trending the right direction. And if something's broken, within 1 or 2 different simple solutions, we can diagnose and fix very quickly what's wrong. Is anyone else getting excited about this? This has saved me so much time and headache. And so hopefully it's just a really good reminder to go through some of this. In close rate, sometimes we just need to go review sales calls. What are we saying? How are we setting the tone in the call? Are we setting expectations up front? Are we actually uncovering pain and problem to where it's like the urgent pain? Are we doing the basics? Are we even asking for the sale, right? So we can do call reviews and see how that's going. Maybe we're asking for it too hard and too soon, and it just feels awkward. Maybe we need to work on how we're presenting so the value is more clear. Anyway, these are the stories that these numbers tell. Take a screenshot of this if you haven't already. This is what I had for you for today. Was this valuable? Good reminder. I'm okay. ROAS equivalent is mind-blowing. Yes, the ROAS on these campaigns are crazy, right? I think it costs us, it ranges, but somewhere between 400 to 600 to acquire, 2400 to 3000 ACV, average customer value, right? So we've got a solid ROAS. Just keep doing it over and over and over. In your accounts, you can go to, let me zoom out here. We can go to your affiliate area. And if you go into your affiliate links and you want to grab the 4 KPIs right here, and you can just paste that link. That's also the full PDF. If you would like to download it, it's in your account. I can actually just share it in the chat. That's easier. If you want to click it and save it to your computer or on your Google Drive or something, it's available for you. There's other like the secret formula. This one's really good too. Here, I'll just share these so you guys have them. If you haven't looked at these, the secret formula is basically like, how many clients do I want? And it'll reverse engineer it for you. So it's like, okay, I want 10 a month. Cool. Here's how many calls you need. Here's what your show rate will end up being. Here's how many outreach messages you need to send. Here's how many people you need to load into the system. It reverse engineers it for you, so there's no guesswork. And then the hook starter is a good one. It's just some like a why you, why me, why this, why now framework of like how to write messages and some copy. So, okay, cool. That's what I have for you guys for today. How to set new sales records with automated reports.